Hi, everyone. Welcome to Flock Talk. I'm Erin Morgan,
And I'm Tom Lewis.
and we work for the farmer members of the Ontario Sheep Farmers Organization.
This week, the topic is veterinary care, and we are interviewing Colin Yates with VetsOn. VetsOn empowers veterinarians with advanced AI-powered virtual healthcare platform that streamlines direct-to-farm sales and delivery of vital medication and supplies. The platform also enables seamless tracking of animal health and facilitates transparent communication between the veterinarian and the customer.
With VetsOn, veterinarians can provide optimal care to their farm clients, all while ensuring reliable and traceable records of their interactions. VetsOn was recently recognized as a leading innovator at Canada's Outdoor Farm Show. Congratulations on your award, Colin.
Thank you very much.
So welcome and thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about VetsOn? How does the service work and what services do you provide?
Yeah, VetSon is a mobile application that is quickly downloaded on your iPhone or an Android phone, and that allows you to connect to your veterinarian, or if you're one of those unfortunate farmers out there that can't get access to a veterinarian anymore, there are some veterinarians on the app that are happy to serve customers or clients in a remote basis only. So this means that they'll provide you telemedicine service where you can talk with them through video, and they can guide you through procedures that you may or not be comfortable doing on your own. And then they also recommend which medication and supplies to order, and then you can order it right from the app and have it shipped to the farm.
So that's really interesting. So we know there's a global shortage of vets, and it's acutely felt here in Ontario. So how will this service help address the problem?
Well, really, it's about efficiency, right? We know that we're not going to get 1,000 more vets tomorrow. We're not even going to get 100 more vets tomorrow in a lot of cases for farms. So it's about using the veterinarians that we have more efficiently. So why would you spend your time driving to a farm when, maybe it's something that farmer is quite comfortable doing, when you could provide your intelligence and seeing what is needed to be done over a video call? The technology allows us to utilize those assets now, so why not use them? The veterinarian still gets paid for their time. The farmer is happy because they get service maybe more rapidly, but also it's a little bit better for the bottom line that they're not paying for that transportation time for that veterinarian to get there.
So do you work with both small and large farms, and what parts of Ontario do you service, and does that include the north?
Yeah, so it all depends on what that veterinary practice that we serve as a software company, how they want to provide coverage. So our first partner practice, which is my father's and co-founder of VetsOn's practice, we essentially use that practice to learn about how to do telemedicine for farm animals and learn about what all the features need to be in VetSon to provide that critical service for the farmer, but also the veterinarian. So through some of those practices now that we're connecting, they're providing service all over Ontario. So I know with his practice as an example, we have farms in Kapuskasing, Sault Ste. Marie area, Kingston, Ottawa, down to Windsor. We're covering the whole province already. And, it's a matter of bringing on other practices, which we are doing, to essentially help them serve their clients that they have more efficiently now. And maybe that will help them take on more clients that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do because they just didn't have the time to do so.
So we've talked about the benefits and the efficiencies that your service provides. What do producers do in an emergency, or are there other drawbacks of working through telemedicine? What if you don't have a local vet? We've talked about the shortages. What are some of the things that producers might need that your service may not be able to provide, and how are we going to get those things covered?
Yeah, well, there is no answer really to that. It is about making sure that we get more veterinarians, and that's going to be a long process. We never say that telemedicine is the solution to all visits, because obviously, a tough pregnancy, calving or lambing, you got to be on site, and that's the reality. So we don't say that telemedicine, and we use a disclaimer. Any video visit that's joined by a farmer or a veterinarian, they sign off to say that they understand the limitations of telemedicine. It's not a silver bullet. It's an efficiency thing to allow the veterinarians that are on the ground to get to the calls that really need to be there in person. For the unfortunate folks that are in areas where there's no veterinarians within multiple hour drives these days, that's the unfortunate reality of the situation that we're in. And when you're in business in some of those areas, you have to take that into consideration as part of your business risk. And until we can get more boots on the ground in Canada and globally as a whole, that situation is not going to change.
So we know a farmer's relationship with a vet is very important for continuity of care. How does a farmer establish a relationship with a vet through your system?
Yeah, so through telemedicine, you can establish a VCPR. So that's called a vet client patient relationship. And most clinics will have that either set up in an ad hoc manner by visiting that farm in person, or through telemedicine. We encourage that veterinarian to go through a series of audit-like questions with that farm to make sure they're comfortable providing service to that farm. And then there's an actual document that's digitized and signed right on the app and recorded into that farm record as well as that veterinarian's record to show that they are responsible for that farm, and any medication that is dispensed, they are responsible for that dispensing of medication to that farm.
So some producers have been working with a veterinarian on a more sort of forward-thinking level and designing sort of farm health plans and looking at the farm from a sort of more forward-thinking perspective. Is that something that a producer can work with one of your vets to do?
Yeah, they can work with any veterinary clinic to do that, and that's the type of thing that is great to follow up through a video visit call. That those are things that don't necessarily always have to be done on the farm, especially any follow-up visits and consultations. That using that veterinarian's time wisely through a video call, just like we're doing here today, rather than doing it in person together, it saved us all a lot of time and a lot of money for both parties. So that's something that we encourage all clients to do with their veterinarians, is to have regular scheduled visits through telemedicine. It's a way to track what's going on, and you also then have that digital record, because in the VetsOn app we record all the videos, so it's in there for posterity as part of your farm record and also the veterinarian's record, so that you can review things very easily when you need to, and especially continuity of care, as you've mentioned. It may not be that same veterinarian and even that practice that is doing a follow-up call with you. So when they have that available at their fingertips to review that record really quickly and see what the discussions or issues were in the past, that makes that discussion go a lot more smoothly, and planning go a lot more smoothly for the future.
Can you provide a little bit of information about how medication is sent to the farm and who administers it?
Yeah, so obviously, when a veterinarian dispenses medication to a farm, they are essentially saying that farmer, or they believe that farmer is capable of administering that medication themselves. If the veterinarian is not confident in that, that means that they have to be present to do it themselves. And obviously, some vaccines, the veterinarian or somebody in the supervision of a veterinarian that's registered will be administering vaccines like rabies and things like that. But in general, that veterinarian, if they're not administering themselves, they are making themselves available if there's any effect that was not anticipated, so that animal has a reaction. So being available by telemedicine really quickly to say, provide XYZ to that animal is a great way as being available for quick follow-up, especially if they're 100 kilometers away and they can't get to you.
So now switching gears to talk a bit more about the technology behind VetsOn. In the intro, we talked about advanced artificial intelligence powered virtual healthcare. Can you talk a little bit about that artificial intelligence component, how it works, how it benefits veterinarians and producers?
Yeah, that's something that we're, as any business right now is working on is artificial intelligence. And for us, it's really about record keeping and making that process as efficient as possible. So, the first step of that is making sure that that record is kept, and then being able to start drawing out information. So, it can be as simple as identifying keywords. So, you have your flock listed and numbered from 1 to 100. So, when you're saying to the veterinarian, well, you 99 is doing XYZ, it's pulling out those key information to pull into your farm record quickly. And then the veterinarian says, well, provide medication XYZ and give it in 20 cc doses for, the next 3 days. Capturing key information like that and putting that into a prescription automatically, or putting that into a record rather than just having a full written record of, this is the information that was dispensed, becomes very valuable as a time saver in itself. And that's what we're here. VetsOn is about is it's an efficiency app, right? It's virtual medicine for animals, but it's really an efficiency app for both the farmer and the veterinarian. And AI is one way to do that.
So, building on that question of technology, are there other ways technology can influence vet care, and what are you seeing for the future of veterinary service?
As I'll make the caveat, I'm not a veterinarian, but I look from a technology side into veterinary space, and growing up in a veterinary clinic with my father's clinics. Veterinary medicine is not going to be what it was in the even 15 years ago. The economics of being a farmer has changed significantly. So and also the cost of a veterinarian has gone up significantly. And with the absence of veterinarians, they're charging, what seems to be a lot of money. But when you think of, supply and demand, it's really not that much money. But at the same time, does it warrant a veterinarian coming out for the cost of one ewe? If that ewe has an issue, well, it may not pay for itself. Those are questions that the end consumer are asking themselves all the time when they're making that decision for a veterinarian. What that means for the industry is, that veterinarian is not that firefighter type of person that they traditionally were when they're coming out to farm for every little case. Those days are, at the very end of that slope. It's gone. I can remember my father going out on calls to every little mastitis case, every little thing, and that doesn't exist anymore. Now they're coming out for the big cases only and providing consultation services. What the veterinarian hasn't been doing, and this is where we try to help the veterinarian make them sustainable, is that having a conversation is a very valuable thing for that farmer. And traditionally, the veterinarian hasn't charged for that, and they've given their time away freely. And that, it's very generous, but it means that, that expectation is that it will continue to happen. But at the same time, that can't continue to happen because farm veterinary service has to be sustainable. So you need to have a veterinarian to get the medication and get the insight. But if they're not there because it's not a sustainable thing, then you've got a dilemma. And that's why we see a lot of younger people exiting the industry on the farm side, because it is so demanding. And really the pay, if you look at it from a pay perspective, is not the same as what you're getting in the pet space or the pet space alone, right? So that's why a lot of younger people are attracted to the pet space, and also because they didn't grow up in a rural environment. So those two things combined together means they're not really comfortable. So in the absence of veterinarians, to have the existing veterinarians be able to provide a service, you've got to be able to have a different way of providing that service, so those clinics, those practices can be viable. And consultation is really the way to go, and also technology, providing the technology that is approved by the veterinarians to say, yes, I know this works. This is something that you should use. So things like point of care tests for pregnancy checks, just like we do in humans, to being able to test for, ketosis or any of those different things is going to be a norm, and it's going to have to be passed through the veterinarian to the farmer, not a tech company providing it off to the side to the farmer, and then the farmer having to use it within the context of a herd health platform or their own ideas of how it should be used. So, there's all these intersections of technology, how veterinary care is going to work, what the farmer expects, that are really at a lot of different tipping points in the industry right now. And, I'm biased, but the veterinarian needs to be an integral part of that for the industry, not just the sheep industry, but animal health as a whole, to survive. Because without veterinarians, what disease cases are going to come in that haven't been tracked, because we just don't have the boots on the ground to pick up on some of those things that we would have in the past. So that's a kind of a long and winding answer. Didn't specifically answer anything, but what I am saying as the conclusion is that a lot of things are going to happen, and they're going to happen in the next 5 years very, very quickly, because we're kind of at that tipping point.
So what has the reaction been from veterinarians to the service that you're providing?
Yeah, for the most part, veterinarians are quite interested. Veterinary medicine is a very conservative industry by nature, especially the farming side. We've seen, vast adoption of technology on more of the pet side in terms of telemedicine, but it really hasn't been adopted in the same way yet on the farm side, because they're rooted in those traditional ways of providing service. And you provide a lot of service when you got boots on the ground, but because it's not really a viable way of doing business in the same way it was in the past, that there is that uneasiness of still adopting. But a lot of them are seeing the value now, especially in the case of helping get medication appropriately to the farm. Having the cost of a veterinarian drop off medication to a farm is not really that efficient. So they're seeing avenues like that where technology can come in and help serve it. In certain, especially the smaller farms, they're seeing, well, if I'm going to provide service to smaller farms, I can't do it with boots on the ground. I'm going to do it in an alternative way. And a lot of veterinarians are starting to grasp onto that as well, that I can grab value from those farms still, but I'm not going to provide the same type of service as I'm going to do to a 200 head dairy farm, right? Mm-hmm. Or 200 head cattle dairy farms. I should be more specific.
Mm-hmm. So how do producers find you if they want to learn more about the services that you're offering, or if they just want to follow along with all the exciting new developments in your company?
Yeah, we have a website, vetson.ca, where they can learn a little bit about us. We're constantly evolving, and we do post regularly on our LinkedIn page and things like that. So, we're a little bit active on Twitter. We got to get more active on there, but lots of exciting stuff is going to be happening in the next few months here.
So just for clarification for producers interested, it's Vets, VETSON is how you spell that if you're looking for them online.
And thank you, Colin, for taking the time out of your day to share some information about this very exciting business and the service it offers to Ontario producers.
Thank you for allowing us to share our story. We appreciate it.
And thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode on VetsOn, and we hope you will join us next Wednesday for a research episode.
Hey, Erin. So what else is going on at OSF?
So in November, we had a really good dairy sheep meeting. We held a business meeting with the dairy sheep producers who are currently shipping with Willis Martin, and also other sheep producers who are interested in the work that these producers are doing with processors across Ontario. The goal of the meeting was to review the different business options for producers so they can work together to ship milk to the various processors. They wanted to formalize their business. They want to work together to ship milk and grow the market for sheep milk products. So throughout the day, there were really good conversations about different business options. In the end, they chose to start a cooperative. So we're really excited to get started on that process. And they elected their founding board of directors. We also heard on that day from Jay Akris from Ovino Dairy about his business and the opportunities for sheep milk in the market. So after the meeting, the board met, and the next step is incorporation. And then they're going to develop their bylaws and create a shipping agreement for the first members of the new co-op. So we look forward to seeing how that group becomes successful. Hey, Tom, what's new?
Well, we just finished hosting the 2023 OSF Convention and AGM, which was a success. Some of the highlights of this year's program include an overview of lamb competition, both live and carcass data, presentation from the Center for Meat Innovation and Technology with several processors evaluating live lambs and their carcasses, a butcher demo focusing on maximizing retail cuts and optimizing consumer cuts, a market panel discussion, a number of concurrent sessions for producers, the Lamb Banquet, which included the return of the OSF Awards and Scholarships on the Thursday, and the OSF Annual General Meeting on the Friday. Feel free to check out some of our recordings, such as the concurrent sessions, carcass competition, and the butcher demo, on the OSF YouTube channel. If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe through your podcast app to receive alerts to our future episodes, and please share our podcast with your friends and family.
For more Ontario Sheep Farmers content, follow us on social media, at Ontario Sheep Farmers on Instagram and Facebook, and at Ontario Sheep on X, formerly Twitter, and visit our website at ontariosheep.org.